Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Noah, and in this video, I want to just share a few of my thoughts on something that came across my feed, right? My YouTube feed, my Reddit feed, just the other day. And that, of course, was this news of a very, very popular YouTuber, a streamer, content creator, whatever you want to call him, who is officially limiting the amount of money entirely that people can donate to him through these platforms, right? Through Twitch or YouTube, whatever it is. I'm sure there's already quite a few people that have seen the video, but I'm of course referring to this Penguins guy, right? That's been around in the YouTube space for a long time, maybe almost 20 years at this point, maybe creeping on that point. But he kind of made this video, and I'm not going to pull up any clips from it or anything like that because kind of that's his stuff. But the gist of the story is that in this time, you know, especially in the recent maybe 7 years or so, the amount of money that he has made from all of these platforms combined is around $40 million. So evidently there was something at some point recently that told him, hey, you know what? I don't need to take donations from people, right? Which actually contributed a relatively small amount from that entire $40 million from my understanding, but it was still a pretty significant chunk of change, you know, on a yearly basis. And like many things that go into, you know, social media or the media space at this point, there's always going to be mixed feelings on it. Some people don't care. Some people are very positive about it, and some people are obviously really negative, right? Because when you find out, you know, someone has made that kind of money within even their lifetime, I mean, it's pretty unbelievable, right? Because the total amount of money that the average person makes in their entire lifetime of work, 50 years, you know, 45 years, 60 years, whatever it is far, far less than what this creator has made in the last 7 years. You know, I think the average amount of money that normal people make in their entire lifetime is, you know, 1.5 mil, you know, a little bit under that. And that's, like I said, that's an entire career, all of those hours, all of that stress. And, you know, here's this creator that gets to make videos, stream video games, you know, talk about stuff, and they're pulling 40 mil, you know, in this period of time. So there is a sentiment about why now, right? Why all of a sudden now? Why not a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago? And one of the things that I did read was that someone said something along the lines of, you know, this individual, this Penguins guy, waited until he was pretty much set financially to release this news, because then that way, if he would lose his entire following, he would still be okay. And although, you know, the person that posted this, there is probably a little bit of envy involved in it, right? Like anything, when you see that kind of number on a screen, you know, it's very tempting to just be, you know, kind of maybe a hater about it, whatever it is. Although I don't share that same sentiment, I want to show you guys that, you know, it is kind of important to see where some of these comments are maybe coming from, to try to, you know, at least play the devil's advocate, to try to understand their point of view as well. So I'm going to pull out a calculator here, just do some very rough calculations to show you guys where this opinion might come from. So if we assume, right, well, we're not assuming, we know that this guy has made $40 million. Now, this is of course revenue, right? That's not gross, or profit, I should say. That's not profit. Profit is the amount that we take back after taxes, after everything. So let's be very conservative for this calculation here. Let's say between all of the taxes and all of the donations that he was doing, you know, I think he said he was donating a good chunk of the money in the beginning stages, you know, 100% basically. Let's say this 40 mil turns into maybe let's say 20 million of it went to taxes and donations, etc., which I think is pretty forgiving, considering taxes are probably anywhere from like 35 to 38%, give or take a little bit. So I think we're being a little bit generous here. And let's also say in this period he spent 10 million on fun, living, a mortgage, games, etc., right? Which is an obscene amount of money, right? $10 million over 20 years even is absolutely crazy. So let's do that. Let's subtract another 10 million from his earnings, right? From everything. That leaves him with $10 million, which is obviously is not 40 million, obviously, but what can you do with $10 million if you know that that was your actual take-home amount? Let me show you guys something. So this is just a very generic calculator to calculate interest, investment, whatever you want to call it. But basically, it allows you to see, and what I want to get into in my point here, how much money this individual could earn from a very, very low risk investment in the stock market, for example, right? So $10 million we know is like, well, we don't know. I'm just making this up. But let's say he actually took home profit, $10 million, which, to be honest, I think would be probably maybe on the lower side, because I find it hard to imagine that he spent $10 million as well. But for the sake of example, right, $10 million is the starting amount. This doesn't really matter. Let's assume that he just puts the money basically in the market, right? Very low and low risk, 6% return. 6% return is actually really low. It's like it's very low, right? Considering what you could be earning annually on your returns for investments. If you look down here, now I know the math is relatively easy here, but it's cool to see. The first year, the amount of money his portfolio would return is $600,000 without doing anything, right? And this is on the lower end. 6% return on investment is okay, but it's not doing too well, right? Generally speaking, there's a lot of other investments in the stock market that can do quite a bit better than that. That means that he could theoretically live on $600,000 and not deplete that original $10 million, right? That's unbelievable. $600,000 are what MDs make, right? Heart surgeons, brain surgeons, some of the most elite technical staff, right, for the biggest companies in the world make around this kind, can make this kind of money. And this is basically saying that he could just have it in his investment portfolio and take that, right? Doing nothing. No 9 to 5, no obligation, just taking that. Now, obviously, there would be taxes, right? Of course. But even with taxes, the take home from that is absolutely obscene. I mean, you'd have enough money to buy a house outright in cash every single year. It's just unbelievable. So the point that I'm making here is that although I don't agree, with him that he waited for a certain point to kind of release this news or to release these numbers, I think, the people that have that opinion, it's got to be coming from somewhere. And this clearly shows that if he did hypothetically lose all of his support from all of his subscribers, all of the YouTube deals, all of everything, he'd be very fine, right? He'd be more than fine for his kids, his kids' kids, his kids' kids, and so on and so forth. Now, the main point in this video, to be candid, is to really show the respect that I have for doing something like this, to this Penguins guy. Just because, for me, at least, I don't know every bit of news and drama that happens in the public figure, streamer, entertainer sphere. Disclosing what you've made in anything is actually, it's pretty unprecedented, right? We don't hear about that. Especially from the person that's earning the money, we might hear something from media, right? Some NFL QB signed this deal for this much money. The Rock is taking $50 million out of a $200 million budget for a shitty movie. We hear that all the time, right? But it never comes from the source. It never comes from the person. So I really respect, what he did, because I don't think it really has been done in this way. And it almost makes me wonder if it is going to kind of change the way that other viewers of large streamers kind of look at these people that they're watching all the time. Because the one thing that is true about people, right, about humans, is that, especially nowadays, is that once you know someone's income, it does change the way that you talk to them, perceive them. It does change your opinion of them, pardon me, at the end of the day. And the goal for streamers is to have this community where we all, I say we, I'm not a streamer, but the goal for these people is to be one of the people, right? And that's how you can get more viewers is, hey guys, I'm one of you. I'm just playing games. I'm funny. I'm this, I'm that. And once you start getting into money, I think it's pretty risky because a lot of people aren't going to look at you or think of you the same way. And this is why I believe a lot of celebrities really don't want to, they're probably told by their agents and so on to not talk about how much they're earning from stuff, because would it affect box office, right? If someone's, if actor or actress is in a movie and how much they make, do you want to support them more? These kind of thoughts go through our head as normal people, right? I'm pretty normal, right? I've got a mortgage that I think about pretty much every day. I've got bills that I think about every single day. So when I hear about someone, and this is just candidly, when I hear about someone that makes, just has money for whatever reason, it's hard to kind of relate to them, right? It's hard to find common ground on a lot of things because the issues, oftentimes humans will find common ground on issues in life, right? The main issue is money, right? So this is where we find common ground. This is expensive. Gas is expensive. My rent is expensive. This food, etc., etc. But when you come across someone who is making a lot of money, like some of these creators do, it doesn't provide anything for normal people to latch onto. So that's why, again, I really commend him for even if he didn't cancel people donating to him. I think just disclosing the money is pretty gutsy, if I'm being honest with you. But like I said, I respect that because there's something about transparency that's really lost in the world today that I kind of look for in a lot of, I try to do it in my own life. I try to look for people that are the same way, but showing that, especially to that extent, I believe is really honest. And, I'm a big fan of that. But of course, I do want to say, just because someone disables donations or whatever they're called, the money's still coming in from the ads, right? So this dude's definitely still going to be fine. But like I said, besides the point, I do think this is a really positive step in maybe slightly putting pressure on, other huge creators to do the same. Are they going to? No, right? Definitely not. Because like I said, it is risky because a lot of your fan base could say, you know what? I am here all the time. I'm watching your stupid ads. I've given donations, but wow, the life that you're living is, you're okay, right? I need to go do something else. That's how humans are. So I wouldn't be surprised if no one else really does that, does this kind of thing in the future. But like I said, I really commend what this guy did. But of course, last but not least, I do want to share my own earnings from YouTube as well, right? I've got a modest channel, but these are, I should say, my earnings. Now, before you guys say anything, I know it's a lot, right? It's tough to look at because you're probably judging me. Wow, this is so much money. How can you do this? Wow, this is crazy. I'm still the same guy, right? I'm a normal guy. I've got issues too, but I did just want to show my income as well. And maybe it's going to be a trend for creators, all creators, to just show their analytics. I mean, that could be such a cool, kind of a cool trend that happens within the YouTuber space, just to know what's going on. But these are my numbers, and I hope you guys aren't too jealous. I'm not even monetized. So technically, I've actually lost money on this YouTube shit because I've had to buy stuff to make videos and so on, but I still love doing it, so I'm happy to be here. But there you go. Those are a few of my thoughts on that recent video that this Penguins guy posted. I really respect it. I love the transparency. It's just not something that happens, so when it does happen, it's a really, really cool feeling. Like I said, I think it is pretty much unprecedented, at least at that scale for YouTubers, right? Having one of the the bigger channels, right? It's like nearly 18 million or 17 million subscribers. It's a huge channel. Do something like that is just really cool to see. And, you know, congratulations to you, Penguin. And I respect it. But of course, if you have stuck along this far in the video, thank you so much for tuning in to hear my thoughts. And I hope to see you again sometime soon.